these grooming gangs up and down the country. Why have you stepped off the stage, and why are you trying to drag all these people over there onto freedom of speech? Then you look at politics, because that's what he thinks he is. He thinks he's tapping into this. And then you look around the Western world and Europe and you think, who's screaming freedom of speech? What angle is he coming from? And then you've got to go to J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. And this Elon Musk paying for his legal team. That's why he's out of prison early, because of the funding from Elon Musk, not off his followers. That's his holidays. So he's an agent. It doesn't matter how you look at it. He's being paid by that firm to scream about this, and he's quite willing to go sound. I'll swerve the grooming and jump on this. And that's why he hasn't mentioned nothing to do with the grooming football lads against grooming gangs on the 28th of June. I haven't heard him say nothing, and that's what I've been waiting for. And because I've been waiting for this as an observer, I can tell you, if he doesn't stand on that pedestal, that's his new angle, and this is who he's doing it for, and that's why he's going down there. Any man that thinks their own man will not start going to protest screaming, we want freedom of speech. What's your version of freedom of speech, Tommy Robinson? Do we all want your freedom of speech, do we? Do we want Elon Musk's freedom of speech? Think about it, lad. And that's where I've always sat with him, and I've always screamed that with him. Yeah, fair respect, raising self, good on you. But where have you gone? Where have you gone? What are you doing? You know, you've took everyone down this path with you and then jumped onto another path. Do you want all these to jump over there with you and just this serious situation off? Why have you jumped away from that? That's just me. That's the way I look at things. I'm not expecting any of you to understand my point of view at all. A lot of you will never get my angle. Some of you will understand where I'm coming from. It's just the way it is. I'm not here to hate on the English, the Welsh, the Scottish or the Irish, but I can see a fold when it starts jumping, like all you should do. You don't see the toad till it starts jumping. He's jumped. Can you not see it? Think about it. He's gone from here to here and he's off. Why? How? Who's put him up to it? Because it's not his own choice. Trust me, he'd be on that. He would be all over that. Why? Because he's been at it for 20 years. Why does he want to... When it's coming to the crunch, why is he bailing? And that's just my little angle there. So I'm allowed that point of view. I'm not near them. I don't go near them. I don't associate with them. I've never really promoted him. I've given credit for what he said about Telford, but it's there and ends there. You've only got to see the way he moved before he got there and how he's moving since he's left there. It's obvious to me. It's obvious to me, mate. You know, you've got to look at the... he cannot do jail, and that's it. You've seen him coming out like he'd been on a desert in 10 years. And head down here, beard down there, and a rosary beard that he's never worn in his life. All of a sudden he's out with a big instruction manual off the legal firm that got him out of prison. Say this. This is what needs to come out. Go and watch his first interview. When he's out of prison, he's standing outside the prison with this big fat envelope, looking like someone that's been in a dungeon for... He looked like a caveman. He was in a cell where you can shave, where you can wash, where you get an exercise, showered, 3 meals a day. Why are you coming looking out like you've been in a cave? Sort your head out, lad. Think about it. Look at the display. You don't think that's an act? Captivating the Christian audience with his rosary between leggings. Start pulling Christians into your shit. I know it's a bit awkward first thing in the morning, innit? But it's a valid point. I just like to get things that bothering me. You know, we're all here trying to search for a leader. You all thought you had. Why is he bailed? It's just horrible, mate. Isn't it? But now I've said this, you know, give it 12 hours, 24 hours. Guess what'll happen? Big kid will jump on the screens criticising the shit. Honest. It's what they do. They've got to counteract it. Bang. And you think, oh, they don't listen to him. Trust me, they've been listening to me since it went viral. Anyone that goes viral on a podcast and no one's ever done it the way he's done it, everyone watches you. So for these helmets all over social media to say they're not aware of me, they never have been, like he did years ago. Don't forget, you know, when you see him round English, you know, when you see English with a Celtic shirts on and you see Robinson, you know, he's all over me at that time with all these. That's how I first come to understand him. I didn't have a clue who he was. I didn't know him when I was in jail. I didn't know none of these sounds when I was in jail. I've just got out and landed in amongst all these weird people that have got less morals than the people in jail. Honest, that sounds mad, that, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound mad? There's more morals within the prison than what there is out here with all that crowd. Honest to God, and that's not an exaggeration. Yes, Marky boy, you good? That's just not an exaggeration, mate. Some of the stunts I've had pulled off that firm, I've never had pulled on me like in my life. It's all brand new to me, all brand new experience. How'd he pull that there? It was just weird. I'm used to it now. I'm well rehearsed in it now because they've been at it for years with me, but weird, mate. Weird. Katrina. And everyone says, you're weird, Dad. I don't batter birds, mate. I don't sniff every weekend. I'm not pissed every weekend. I'm not taking DMT thinking I live in a new dimension. That's what they all do, you know. Weird, lad. And then they sit there on some delusional pedestal, ripping everything. They run the virtual world. When you've seen me on here going off it like, it's because I'm tapped a little bit, right? You know when I'm doing my podcast, I'm dead passionate, and just like, rah. You've got people coming on the virtual world, portraying that character, and then coming out the virtual world and trying to be themselves again, and they manage it somehow. But what you've got to understand there is you've got two personalities that work with them. You know, you've got the good, then you've got the slimy cunts. The one that's going to ask the troubling questions. Do you understand what I mean? The one that's manipulative in his talk and comes across aggressive. Knows when he's going to go viral if he puts this question across in an aggressive, snarling face. It's what you're watching. It's all fake. It is. It's just how it is. It's weird. It's like my content is me sat here just being content. Their content, they're planning it, right, I'm going to ask you these questions, you ask me this question, I'll respond like this, and you know, all this madness, you know, creating a bubble of the conversation so they get more click and more, it's weird. Live clips is in. But as I say, I'm not amongst all that. There's a reason why I'm not amongst all that. Ribs. Say he's heady. Not even ribs. Try going for the body, mate. They're little coke sniffers, lad. Look. You know, years ago, bit of a. You know, we were young, and we had punchers that were older than us. And if they didn't pay us, or they'd robbed an house or something like this, they'd get an hiding off us. And I learned we'd have some heavy punches in Liverpool, and like the punches in a town in Brighton. Completely different kettle of fish here, mate. And this is what you need to understand, lad. When you've got a heroin addict or a crack addict in your little town in Gosport, or in your little town down there in the Midlands, or up there up north in Hull, or down there somewhere like that, they're a different classification of hunter. When you're looking at the ones from Liverpool, Trust me, you've got punters that are built like housemates, and they'll wrap you up and take everything off you. The next level, the punters.
Well, it has now been just over a week since the...
And we all rip into them, don't we? My brother was a punter.
exchanging fresh attacks this morning.
Was your dad a punter? Was your mum?
Across parts of central Israel.
It's horrible, isn't it?
IDF warned of an
I wonder how that happened.
barrage from Iran. These
I wonder how your ma ended up on the craft, lad. Your little child ended up.
intercepting multiple missile strikes. Meanwhile, in Iran, a building in the city of...
All you got to do is wonder what your thoughts for a little bit.
with Iranian media saying a 16-year-old boy had been killed.
You've got loads of lads right on our estates whose mars are off, whether it's weed, coke, crack, smack, drink, whatever.
Earlier this morning,
They're all a mess. There's loads of young lads with mums and dads who's off drugs.
States were discussing
You've got a lot of lads participating in the trade that destroyed their mum and dad. It's mad, isn't it? So you see last night when we were talking about cannabis misuse, we were talking about if you're a parent and you're letting your kid begin to smoke weed, you're a rat. If you're turning a blind eye to that, you're a rat. If you're a lad or a girl, a woman who's 70s, 80s, like me, smoking weed, and you're 35 and you stop the weed, you know the repercussions, you know the long-term consequences of your actions. Why? Because you're a little bit scatty up here, aren't you? You've spent pure Brewsters on it, you've destroyed relationships, you've just ended up a mess, haven't you, over the last 20 years. You know that, don't deny it. Every pothead knows it. You've gone through the same process as everyone that abuses it. I've never abused it. You have. Everyone does. It's how it is with every substance. You start with a gram, before you know it, it's half ounce. That's abusing it. So, regardless if you're having a joint now, at the age of 38, at the age of 27, at the age of 29, regardless of your fit, you've still got on you the responsibility of smoking that shit off screen, not promoting it to the kids. Why? Because you know. Then you know. You've looked like a smackhead half your life because of it. Don't start sitting there like you don't know the side effects. So for you to be sitting there with your 15-year-old cousin passing them joints, you're a rat. Nothing but and nothing else. Full-blown rat. Why? Because look at the state of you after 15 years of smoking it. Now you're giving it to your little mates and your little things. He's a horrible. All he is, mate. Yes, kitty cat. If you're selling your weed, you're selling your weed. You're doing what you're doing. The government encouraged you. That's why you stopped getting arrested on the street with your couple of grams. That's why the stop and search was relaxed massively. So you weren't getting the warnings you need to stop smoking. It's going to fill up. They were the interventions that normal kids needed. They took it away. If you've got a gang of criminals there, expelled from school, going on that path of life, and then you've got a group of kids up here who are just influenced to smoke weed. Why? Because the rappers are smoking it, football players promoting it, fighters promoting it, music promoting it, culture starting to promote it, health centres, health people tapping in like it's a health benefit, parents being persuaded it's okay. Why? Because they were okay smoking it. Was you okay smoking it? Why do you think you was? All these things affecting them kids over there, the legitimate ones, the ones that are coming from households that aren't broken, the ones that are coming from households where they've got education, where they've got food in the cupboards. Dad, what are you developing a pot addiction for, you dickhead? And this is what I'm saying to you. That kid walking down the street by himself, 8 o'clock at night, looking suspicious, would have got pulled. The legitimate pothead. just starting on this career of smoking weed, gets pulled, gets the shit put out of him. Why? Because he hasn't been dragged into police cars before. He's never been pulled into a plod shop before. He's never done no madness like that. So that first punishment, he won't walk on the street, he won't go near weed again. Once your kid starts buying weed, he's engaging with criminal activity. And this is what use legitimate people. We can scream at the ones that have done it all day, but if we continue to let all these kids get off it, you've got to understand the consequences of what. And oh, he's bored, it's alright, he just did it. No, he's got to get his cannabis from somewhere. 95% of them are getting it from the streets. Once you start purchasing that shit from the streets, you are engaging with criminality. All drug dealers prey on the customers, regardless of who they are. They turn out to be like a shop. The more customers, no, I want the dough. No, I'll give you strap, but you've got to give me this back. It's just like a little shop for them. They prey on customers. Every drug dealer at every level. So what makes you think your kid, who's legit, educated, college, going places, having a joint's getting a grip of him, starts mixing with this kid over here, this drug dealer just doesn't sell weed now. A lot of them, some of them do, the young kids, but a lot of them have, when they've been selling it for years, they get greedy, they move away from weed. They don't move away from it, they continue with it, but add the cocaine and add the ketamine to the list of drugs that they can supply to the customers. And when they start growing up with your kid, who's a customer for the last 2 years, just buying weed off him, now he's tapping into his more harsher substances. He's looking at his good customers, which your kid is one way, because he's coming on a regular, giving them good dough. So when your kid's coming, I'm starting to do this, lad. Oh, I don't mix with that. Just take a little bit. You never know. Just drop it, plant the seed. It's just planting the seed. It's all you've got to do with these kids these days is plant the seed, and they'll water it. Before you know it, he's just having a try at it. Your kid's 20 now, started smoking weed when he was 15. He's on what the government call party drugs. Yeah, they're illegal, but they're not really bad for you. And they promote it, and then they call every festival party. Now you've got dickheads getting drugs in kids' parties in your local fall. It's the link. It's a party. Let's go and get pissed. You've got people now, so-called good-loving parents, who are setting parties up for the kids, but in reality it's to get all the mums round, get pissed and get on the coke, especially in the criminal fraternity. Every party's an opportunity to get drugs in the city of Liverpool for 50% of the city, and that's no exaggeration, mate. I think I'm saying a lot of key words here, and although they're not, in my mind, they're not offending no one, they're just key words, aren't they? And I might just get shut down, so do you reckon I should start again? I'm not attached to no group. I'm not attached to no organisation, no secret society behind me. I sit in the middle, watch, form opinions. Unfortunately for myself, I've been getting dragged into this corner with these, then into this corner with these, then with this, then with this, and it looks like I'm just, I don't know what it looks like, when in reality what I'm trying to do is sit there and be someone on social media making valid points about anything once. I'm not trying to offend your Muslim faith, I'm not trying to offend your Christian faith, I'm not trying to offend your Jewish faith, I'm not trying to offend that you're part of the British Empire, I'm not trying to offend that you're Irish, you're Welsh, you're Scottish, you're English. I don't give a When I'm seeing shit unfold, I'm seeing it for a reason. I'm forming opinions on it, I'm coming on here and I'm giving you this straight out the fag. Here's my opinion on him and this. Opinions change over time, but normally your first opinion is the more substantiated one. Why? Because it's took you a long time to form that opinion, and it takes you minutes to change that opinion on it. Like I did with Tommy Robinson. But you always come back eventually to the same opinion, don't you? Why? Because the people that showed you a good thing, who made you change their opinion of them for 20 years or something, all of a sudden you've seen them do a good thing, change your opinion, a few months later you see him again. There he is, back out and hid you there, your personality come out for a bit, now you've got your other personality on show. So you go back to your normal opinion. So I've changed the opinions of loads of people. Loads. They form an opinion on me. I've managed to change it. Now I haven't changed it on purpose. I've just been consistently me. I've just been me. I've not changed on social media since I started. I've got a bit more in. But that's where I get triggered and shit. That's all developed later on. So I'm just me being consistent. I'm not here to offend no one. I'm here having valid points. I've supported Jews. But when shit's happening amongst Jews, I've screamed about it. When shit's happened amongst Jews, I've screamed about it. And the same with them there, screamed about it. Anything that's harming children, women and our communities, recognise what I scream about. What am I screaming about? All the time. Not even screaming. I can scream, mate. Do you want to hear me scream? If I scream, every screen in this room will crack. You'll have spiders come out the walls. Do money spiders breed? Do money spiders breed? I'm asking for a reason. The bird's got me bedding. She's washed it, she's put it in the car. For some mad reason, she said she had a money spider on it. I've gone in my bathroom the last 2 nights and I've just got what she thinks of money spiders just appearing all over my bathroom. Did he breed that fast? Or if she came in with some shit bedding from some shit gaff and it's just got flies in the seams and now it's washed, they're just coming out in the night. Has that been bit all over the gaff since I've had that bedding?
Amanda, for now, thank you.
I've got all little mad bites, I'm sure they're in my skin. I can pop shit on my thing and think, wow, how long have you been there? Look like a frettle. Not a frettle. You know what I need? I just need a good clean. Don't forget, mate. Think about the places I've slept in. Prison's a unhygienic place, you know. Dirty. Even when you go into your new home, you scrub the out of it, get it spotless, get it the way you want it, and then you're shipped out back into a shit sty and you've got to scrub that. And when I mean scrub, I'm talking snot on the wall by your bed for 10 years, crusty. And it's like steel to get off. And the only thing you've got is a shitty plastic mirror off the wall with your hands. You're like that. You get these green and snide scalding pads that you're meant to clean off an oven with. You're scrubbing the walls, taking the paint off. But you've got to do it, you know, to get the shit and the piss off the walls. Otherwise, you're living in here. You get lads go to jail, get put in a cell, and just live in the cell the way it is. I just think, wow, it doesn't matter how long you're there. Get it clean, kid. You know when you see these TikToks where you got prison cells and you go, wow, look how organised, look how symmetrical them shower gels. Look how high that pile of noodles are. Wow, look how long the audio cable is for that shit system he's got. Spotless. Spent 2 or 3 hours on it because he knew, I've got a phone tonight, I'm going to get some content in my cell. 4 days later, it's a mess, mate. The canteen's gone. He's just there doing his rip. But on the other hand, you go into, you ask anyone, go into any local remand centre, the cell you're getting put in, unless it's a double cell with a cleaner or one of the boys, you're living in piss. That's what you're living in. Your bed's round next to a steel bog, and the steel bog hasn't got a lid. And because the steel bog's not being maintained, it's like 20 years old. And when you've got punters coming off the streets just getting lamped in there and they're aiming for the bog, but they're getting the mirror. You don't understand. You see how many inmates have got Hep B in prison and they don't understand they've got it. You know what they start saying? It's like a vitamin D. No, it's not, mate. You've got a Hep B. You know what they done to all prisoners before they done to everyone outside? You know when they brought the Hep B jab out? They tested it on the inmates. Oh, I'm not lying, mate. And this is what they've done. I've been in prison all my life, so you know when yous are just getting the flu jab? We've all had it. Well, not me. They've all had it. Honestly, they roll it out to prisoners first before anyone. And I've always said it, you know, and this isn't like some mad fan. I've always believed that. So see your biometric identification systems that you've got now in the public, they was in the system 20 years ago. Prisoners were putting their thumbs and their forefingers on these little readers 20 years ago. That shit only came into the community like 15 years ago. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's like they try it out on the prison population and see if it works and learn off the mistakes in the prison population before they put it out into the wider prison population. The only difference with in there is the bars. That's why they can hold loads of things and practice loads of things in there, because no one knows what's happening, including the prisoners. They just get told, this is how you're doing your mail now, this is how you're booking your visits now, this is how you're doing this now. Without them understanding it, the minute they start putting their fingerprints on these machines, that's on every wing now in most prisons. The same's happening with their family members outside. Doesn't matter if the kid's 3 or the ma's 63. They're now coming to the prison to visit these, and they're getting told, you need to be putting your fingerprints on these. We need to scan your face. They're not just scanning your face, they're scanning your body composition. They're scanning your voice when you're speaking back to the screen. Are you okay? Can you stand still? Oh yes. Without you realising it's all recorded, it's all pumped. And that's what they've done in prison. So the Hep B jab rolled out in prison before here. The flu jab, prison before out here. All of that. Why? Because I was in the system and I've come out the system. Yeah, I'm a little bit sapped. You can see me a little bit sapped. I think it's ADHD where I'm going subject. But none of it's bullshit. Although I'm jumping to subject, every subject is logical, it makes sense. It's not just rambling. Normally I can stay focused and just stick on a topic and address it. But for some reason I'm touching on them now. And I think that's happened on the back of doing lives. That makes sense. So when I first started out my content, what I'd do is I'd do my research, I'd get all my shit together, compile it, and then I'd sit in here and explain it for an hour. And I'd be focused on one topic. Whether over the years, YouTube, Instagram, that's the way I've done it. And then I came on TikTok, and this live's different. So it's more open, it's more like you're addressing all sorts of shit. So I speak to the comment section for years. That's the way I've engaged, and people are coming in with what about this, Darren? What about that, Darren? What about this, Darren? What about that, Darren? What about this, Darren? And I'm just going bam, addressing that, And then another question, bang, addressing that, then addressing that, then addressing that, then addressing that. So here I am 2.5 years later, because I've been like that. Now it's like I'm like that, normal. I'm not speaking no one to intervene where I'm going with my topics. So if there was someone sat in this room now, and I'm speaking about, let's say, what I've just been speaking about, the biometric identification process. If there was someone here, they'd go, yeah, but what do you think about this? And I'd go, oh yeah, and I'd be engaged. But I'm talking to a screen. There's no response. There's no like return. And it seems like the shit I've thought about. So when I've thought about that biometric thing, and then I went on to the other subject, and that's how I've got onto it years ago in that sort of sequence. It's just weird to explain. Like Mr. Unknown always comes in going waffle, waffle, waffle. But it's 10:26 and you've been sat there for 30 minutes listening to me. And every opportunity you get before you get blocked, you come in and listen to me. So leg of your helmet. Me, I'm good. What about Darren? He's a proper... Again, he's just a more advanced version of Tommy Robinson. He's paid to spin the narrative and stick to it. It's a valid point what I've made this morning, people. If you got upset because I was speaking about Tommy Robinson, it's your own fault. It's a valid point I'm making. Very, very valid. He needs... Well, he doesn't. He's a man. He does what he wants to do. But to me, to work on this thing for years, get it to where it should be, to address it properly, and then jump ship. For anyone that will do anything to get out of prison, it's like... yeah, so look, I've got all these elements like your Englishes and all these habits, and although they don't say it publicly, they encourage others to chat the shit that I'm a snitch, right? You've never seen me sit with anyone in an authority and treat them like a friend, have you? You've seen me in situations with police where you've just got to go, sound mate, sound as, get the foot and get gone. But you've never seen me embrace a prison officer, have you? Why? Because I've been in prison and I've suffered horrendously at the hands of prison officers, regardless of how they sound now they've been kicked out for being corrupt or whatever. To me, the way you and your firm have always treated me and my firm is horrible. So you will never get me sitting there with a screw who's now out the job for whatever reason, thinking he's relevant. Do you get what I'm saying? To me, you're a piece of shit. You've only got to see the damage to me and my brothers to understand what prison officers are like. Again, you're sitting there with ex-policemen as if they're your best mates. For 30 years they've been locking your own kind up or giving them life. Oh, but now, because there's a subject that you want to promote, and this is a policeman from the force that got dismissed for whatever reasons. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So all these kids shout out there that I'm this wrong. You do not see me sit on any interview praising police. The most you've heard me say is they've got a job to do. The first person you're going to ring as a legitimate man of the house if your daughter's being took by you're going to ring the police. They've got a job to do. But you know, the people on your streets now, the police, these are your sisters, these are your mothers, these are your dads, your uncles. That's what you're dealing with. That policewoman that's 5'4" can just about run down the street. That's someone's mum. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And this is what the power base have done. Why? Are we going to attack our own? Now, if that police force was built like they were built in the 80s and 90s, it's a different reaction. You know, you're talking about steroid abusing policemen. all angry, aggressive, wanting to batter the shit out of you. Where have all they gone? If they were on the streets now, you wouldn't have a single immigrant stepping out of line. You wouldn't have half the criminals stepping out of line. Trust me on that. You'd have a loads of lads get off because of this heavy-handed policing. Sounds mad, doesn't it? But why did they replace all that strong ex-military force people and replace them with your bus driver? I'm not discrediting the bus driver, but years ago, like in the prison system and like outside in the police training places, you had to reach a certain criteria. You had to get to something like 5.5 on the big test. Now they've got to get to 2.1 or something. What's that telling you? That police officer can only run a mile before the... If you put the equipment on them, not even a mile. Do you understand what I'm saying? Same with the prison staff. You had ex-militant, strong and moralistic men patrolling the landings, treating the lads like the lads in the army. It was run better, it was more routine. If you were you got treated like that. So if you were good, you got treated good. That was it. They replaced them all with helmets that have never worked nowhere. You've seen an advert in the paper for Serco, and this is what Serco done to the prison system and the police force. Now you don't understand it. You don't understand that your police force is controlled by the private security sector. Oh, isn't it? Well, part of it is. And if part of it is, trust me, it's not long before all of it is. Because that's what Serco and all these private security companies did years ago. The government was spending billions and billions and billions of pounds on the prison system. And the people that got into power, Tony Blair and co, there's the faults where it all began. They started talking about privatisation of certain aspects of the criminal system. So, before Tony Blair got in power, you'd have Walton Prison. And at Walton Prison, you'd have 6 buses parked up in the yard in reception. And them 6 buses would be manned by the screws off the wings who all the lads knew. And when they're going to court, you'd have 6 or 7 screws, 8 screws on the bus with these 30, 40 lads and take them to court. Tony Blair got in, he wanted to make that less expensive and said, I know, let's give the escorting business to and from court to a private security business. And this is where they started getting the whole system. Honest to God. So now you've got these sweat boxes. The buses we were going in, they were open-winded. You just had enough man on them that they didn't have to treat you like cattle. There was a bit of humanity still there. As soon as the private sector got in, then buses were gone, the screws were left void, back in the prison, and we were getting escorted by these helmets in a uniform saying G4S or something. In these little square boxes where you can't use the toilet, you're sweating your back off. But like the private sector always do, people, they appease you with materialistic rewards so they can keep you quiet while they implement the restrictions. So when they brought these new sweat boxes in, you had a radio speaker in there, you had a fully fledged system where the screw sat, you had comfy on the chair, a little bit of leather sofa so you'd sit on it. The windows weren't fully blacked out or sealed, so you could see, they couldn't see you, but you could see out clearly. So it made the experience in this little 2x2 6-foot box that you sat in, like depending on where you're going, depending on how many hours you're in there, it made that journey a lot less harmful psychologically and physically. Why? Because without music, your head, you're thinking about your court case too much, you're thinking about your family too much, you think, oh, this is going on in this little box. While you're doing that, you've got helmets screaming, who's been in the system for years, not giving a fuck this brand new kid. But the point I'm making is, so all the prisoners didn't cause a fuss. When they're going to court, they go, oh, sweet this, any water? Giving them water. What music do you want on, boys? We're giving you snack pack because you're on the bus. It's 11 o'clock, but we're going to give you a snack pack anyway. Everyone's getting a piece of fruity, yogurt, a packet of crisps, a juice drink on this sweat box. So they're not arguing, they're buzzing. A year later, systems out, leathers out, fully tinted windows, no drinks, no lunch packs. You got to wait to get to your courthouse. If you're in the bus, then you'll get one. We start complaining, why have they done this? Why have they took all this out? The fuel cost was too expensive. The lighter the van, the lower the fuel cost. So we removed all the wiring for the systems and the speakers and all this shit to reduce weight of the van so they get more miles out the fuel. This is what they say. Now, when they've opened the private sector prison, they've done exactly the same thing. You know, when they started moaning, they got into the escort sector, and this is how they started impacting on the prison system. This is fact. The screws might have seen, some of them might have. Fairest definitely did. But what happens is the private escort system, now your G4S, started deliberately delaying the prisoners getting to the court on time. And when the prisoners weren't getting to the court on time, it was creating a massive backlog, which caused madness in the government, in politics. So these were blaming them. The prison staff, the POA hadn't done shit. Their prisoners were out the door on time, 7:30, 6 o'clock sometimes, and they're gone on the bus. Once they're on the bus, they're out of our thing. But that security company managed to spin it as if all the delays were happening on the back of the POA because they'd secured the contract off this when it wasn't. It just wasn't. So now they've used this delaying tactic as a way of encouraging the government to question, and hang on, you know, we need this one. If you can't run smoothly, we've got to start questioning if you're able to run the new prison. And then Tony Blair's in with all his big corporative privatisation people. NHS got privatised under him, prison system privatised under him, school system privatised under him, the housing system privatised under him, the postal system privatised under him. So he brought privatisation in. Yeah, Conservatives carried it on because they were stuck. And I was thinking about the way they're all going at the grooming thing, screaming at it, why didn't you do anything for 14 years? Why didn't you do anything for 14 years? You know, if you walked into a position that you haven't been in for 20 years and come across a big pile of mad shit in the corner that could ruin you forever, would you touch it? Would you touch it? I know, yeah, your morals, but put that aside. Labour knew, let them get in power. All that responsibility will fall on them. If they would have raised it, they've just left it. Now they've lost power, they're able to go, hang on. But Tony Blair and co, who were leading the way with your WEF and your WHO now, that's how far up they've got because of the corruptness of the cunts. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this is just my opinion. I'm going off my experience in the prison system, and because I was very observant, I watched the dynamics unfold. And I've told you this before, Tony Blair gets into power, everywhere starts getting privatised. The escort service got, all of a sudden new prisons are getting built, and the government are trying to. So this is what else Tony Blair done. You're getting paid too much to the POA. You're getting paid too much. You're getting paid too much. Worked on it for like 6 months, and then said, "We're making all yous redundant. You can either retire now or take a lower wage. Retire now with a lump sum, or take a lower wage and new contracts and still work." So all the decent, experienced screw officers that were on the ball, gone through the madness, come out the other side, treating prisoners decent, know how to work the land and know how to calm people down, understand the emotions of every man on the wing because they're on it. give them a redundant that was too good to refuse, a retirement package type thing, but they're all 50 and they've still got 15 years something, and the wages are meant to be going up. And they just removed all the experienced officers straight away. It's like now, without you understanding it, they're privatising the army. And that's why at the top of the chain, the experienced ones are bailing, going into more affordable ways of doing it. Why? Because they're getting offered crazy prices for the work that is just well below their efforts, which is making them and forcing them to swerve it, which is putting in place people that run your private prisons, basically. So when you've got a private security firm outside, they're like your government. They're like the armed forces of your government. Private security is not just like that kid on the door of the Tesco, them people minding them houses. Private security is invading buildings in Iraq and killing militants, escorting valuable MPs to the Middle East. So this is what Serco, this is what the jobs they do around the world. You know, it's a very dangerous, powerful force, and it's all about NATO. When you're hearing about Serco and G4S and all these private companies from right around Europe, it's NATO driven. It's a NATO force. When you're speaking about the private security sector, what you're speaking about is NATO's security sector. It's not governmental security, if you understand what I'm saying. It's not UK government. It's NATO army. It's not the European army. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Anyway, it's getting deep. Maritime security is a smokescreen for it as well. At the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. You see me, I get entangled in all places, Dan. Why am I even speaking on it? It's because that's what comes into my space, and I get into my mind and I start watching or listening to or shit like this. It's what comes to me. I don't associate with no one, and I don't sit there on social media watching no one all day. Do you understand what I mean? I'll go on social media and hear the Scouser's voice, haven't got a clue who they are, follow them and repost them. I've started reposting all sorts. And you can see we're just going through an array of subjects and topics in it. Unfortunately, it's just how I am now at the moment. Just how I am. I'm not troubled. I'm sweet. Do you understand what I'm saying? But there's that much shit going on, and I'm just affected by it all for some reason. So when everyone's shutting up about Palestine, aren't they? So you had a non-government organisation set up a group called Palestine Against Genocide, right? That was deliberately set up by officials in government, but not without it being legislated. So you've got these people in politics opposing the other people in politics, and to ruin them, they set up these things. Now this PGA, they're speaking about classifying it as a terrorist organisation. The minute I heard that, I just automatically thought about every other terror organisation around the world that they've been on board with and then changed it. So I was thinking on the back of that, is that going to be the next terrorist group in the UK in 20 years? It's not going nowhere, it's just going under the counter. So when it goes under the counter, it's hidden for a reason, isn't it? So that's what I was thinking on the back of hearing that. The way the authorities basically established, funded, paid for flags, paid for all these things and signs, and encouraged it and paid people to turn up and attend. You know, like the American flow? That firm from America is now in the UK dictating shit with politics, by influencing the lobbies, by groups like these NGO groups. Them NGO groups down the line become sinister and get labelled terror groups. Looking at this country now, the way it's deteriorating massively going forward, and the Islamic influence and the aggression and the invasion of privacy and, you know, crossing perimeter fences, going into RAF bases, you know, if that was a recce, to me, that was a recce. That was showing the world how easy it is to destroy the United Kingdom, to me. That's why these are all screaming, now hang on, we are vulnerable. Yeah, you're damn right vulnerable. The only reason you aren't is because you've got us all thinking mad. That's why you need outside sources to come and do this shit. Yeah, silky deal, but this is where we're going with it. If you think about what I'm saying logically, you're hearing things now which is just making me think everything is the Muslim agenda, and it's not coming through like, oh, he's just hating Muslims. You know, I'm seeing most things the government are doing, most laws to implement locally in the last 3 months